listening to The Gender Rebels.
I'm Kathleen, a cis woman and ally.
And I'm Faith, a trans woman.
Gender Rebels is a question and answer podcast that explores life outside the gender binary.
A big thanks to our Patreon supporters.
If you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/genderrebels. Hey, Faith, I got a question.
Sure, what's your question?
Why is today's episode different from all other episodes?
What a good question. Today is actually our 100th episode.
100?
It's the 100th episode of The Gender Rebels.
We went from 99 to 100. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So actually, because it's our 100th, we have a huge thing to announce.
What? Tell me.
We've got a special guest.
Who is our special guest?
Everyone out there, our special guest is the amazing and talented Michelle Hendley. Michelle, welcome to The Gender Rebels.
Hey guys, what's up?
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for coming on.
Gosh, we have so many questions.
Congratulations on your 100th episode.
Thank you. Well, we've been working on this a while, and we've been talking to a lot of great listeners. We have a lot of great fans out there. I'm sure a lot of them are well aware of you and of your work, but for those who aren't, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, sure. I think a lot of people know me from my YouTube that I kind of started years back when I was starting my transition, and I just blogged a ton about getting into my transition and every step I took and, you know, crying about boys in between and all that. So YouTube, but also I was a part of this film a couple years back called Boy Meets Girl.
We are big fans. We love that film.
Thank you very much. And it's a rom-com sort of dramedy about a trans girl.
Yeah.
Yes, and got good reviews.
It did. We've
good
actually
coverage.
we've actually talked about it on the show before. It was very cool. You did a great job, by the way. Actually, I thought your performance was you came off as super likable.
That's it.
Very fun. I thought you really made the movie, and I definitely recommend that our listeners, if they haven't seen it, absolutely check it out.
Definitely. If anyone listening hasn't seen it, there's a link down below. Michelle plays Ricky, who is so funny and cute and adorable, and the whole town loves her. And please trust me, listeners, you will love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it, because I know you had an episode where you were very critical of trans media. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, am I about to show up on a roast right now? Oh my god.
No.
Yeah, what's the difference, Faith? We know Faith is not crazy about transgender
one of the things
media.
we talked about. One of the things we talked about on that episode was the fact that a lot of the times cis actors play trans people.
Yes.
And Michelle, you're an actual trans person playing a trans person, and that is the kind of representation we do need to see more.
That's the casting that should be happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now but that was written and directed by a cis man, right?
Correct. Eric Schaefer. But I will say that every step of the process of making the movie, he was always checking in with me and some other trans women that he knew, just to make sure that the story rang true and that the subject matter reflected actual trans lives. So I really appreciated that. Even though he's cis writing a trans story, he definitely wanted to make sure that his sources were on point.
That's so
Excellent.
important. That's so rare, unfortunately, but really important.
Yeah, I hope you got a writing credit.
I wish.
So, what is your current project? Had you just finished wrapping a film?
Yes, I just finished wrapping. It's a film called All the Little Things We Kill.
Whoa.
And I can't speak a whole lot about it. I just checked the IMDb, and there isn't a ton of information, so I'm not going to spill anything, but the cast is phenomenal. It touches on very current, very topical subject matter, mostly regarding guns. So it was an insane film to be part of, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all comes together.
Oh, it's exciting. We are looking forward to it as well.
Yeah. So, how did you actually start getting into acting at the beginning? You mentioned that you were on YouTube. Were you drawn to acting at a young age? Were you in theater, or how did that come about?
Okay, so my whole life, my parents thought I should have been an actor. They were always pushing me to be in theater, but I was like, no. And I think a part of that, honestly, as a kid, was that I wanted to play the girl roles.
Of course.
Obviously, growing up, especially in Missouri, back then it was like, no, you're going to need to play the boys. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't want to do it. But so what got me into acting was Eric Schaefer, the director of Boy Meets Girl, was looking for someone who fit his image of Ricky, And at the time, and this was like, what, 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago, casting agencies didn't have much in terms of like a trans roster. They didn't have they weren't representing a lot of trans talent at the time. So I remember him talking about, I think he asked like Jamie Clayton, he even talked to Bailey J and a few others, and they just weren't the right fit. So I swear, I think he literally went to Google and was like, transgender, like 20 something, whatever. And then my little blog popped up.
Wow.
And he sent a message to me. And at the time, I remember, like, I really was not on top of my inbox at the time. I mean, not that I really am now, but back then, I definitely wasn't checking my YouTube messages too often. One week I checked, and he was like, he'd sent me a message and said, you know, do you want to be a part of this movie? And at the time, I was like, this is real suspect. Like, who is this man in my inbox asking me to be in a movie? What kind of movie could some random guy on the internet? Like, is this her just looking for a susceptible young trans girl? But it checked out. It was fine. He's, like, legit. And Boy Meets Girl was my first, like, experience with acting. And then from there, it just took off.
And to be star of a feature film, like, not bad.
Yeah.
For your first
not at all. It's really crazy. I feel very fortunate to.
Yeah. No, I like we talked about the movie Boy Meets Girl. Your character, I couldn't imagine. Certainly, Bailey J in the home. But for those
he was telling me that, I was like, oh my god, there's no way I'm gonna get this. There's just no way.
No, there were a lot of things about transition in that film that I think it got very right, and obviously they had good input from you.
And that says a lot for someone who might be working hard on their vlog or their YouTube channel or their blog. It's like, keep doing that. Keep putting that content out there because you never know who's going to be looking for that.
Yeah.
So true.
And wait, so if there were young trans kids out there looking to get into creative fields like acting, what would be your advice to them other than to just make a YouTube blog and get emails from random guys?
Just like cry the whole time you're on camera. You know, you'll get booked. No, if you're serious about getting into acting, obviously just find as many projects as you can be a part of and really prepare yourself for so much rejection, because that is just part of it. Even like the biggest stars, you know, like even Brad Pitt, I would assume at one point people rejected him a little bit.
It must have
but it's just a part of it's just a part of the process. And as long as you have faith in your abilities and you maintain your sanity throughout it, I think acting is a great opportunity for anybody who has a sort of passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain your sanity? Do you recommend alcohol or exercise or both or neither?
Sure. Like, I spend a lot of time by myself, like hiding in my apartment until a project comes. Keeping a good network of people that are supportive and maybe even want to collaborate with you, I think is so important. It keeps your creative juices flowing. Be in class. I mean, like, I really cannot emphasize having community is so important, whether it's online or off. Have good people on your side.
Definitely. People who've gone through the same thing or are going through it and know the good stuff and the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, do you have any advice? How do you separate chasers from the good guys?
So, it can be difficult sometimes because there's a lot of gray area, and we don't want to pass judgment or alienate. However, a chaser, maybe I've just been in the game so long that I can just sniff him out, but it's like, typically when a guy is super fixated on what's between your legs, basically just frothing at the mouth about the opportunity of getting with a T-girl or whatever, like that's a chaser. Also, when I was single, I did a lot of online dating because it was just easier to kind of put myself and tell my tea and just like put it out there for people to know. But there are some sites I would just avoid if you're trying to stay away from chasers, like tsdating.com. Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, the place you're going to find love.
Oh, that's the whole point.
Transgender.
Find love.
Well, I would stick with OkCupid. I would stick with platforms that are inclusive of trans people, but that are not exclusive to trans dating. You know what I mean? But if a guy's not willing to meet you in public, if a guy's not willing to introduce you to his friends if you've been seeing each other for a while. And if a guy is like texting you only in the middle of the night when it's convenient for him, those are telling signs that he's no good.
And if his first question is, are you pre-op or post-op?
No.
Oh, 100. Oh, or are you top, bottom, or verse? You know, any of those sort of.
No.
Are you functioning? Are you fully functional?
Who are these people? Oh my god. This is what we're trying. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh my gosh. So you mentioned like on a dating profile that you like having it out there just at the beginning, assuming of course people read dating profiles and don't just go on the pictures.
Right.
How did you first come out to your family? You know, how did you kind of figure out being transgender was even a thing and kind of come out? Because you came out, I think, very young, didn't you?
Yeah, and what's so funny is they kind of knew before I did. I remember around 14 when I just thought I was like a femi gay boy that I came to my parents. I was like, Mom, I'm gay. And she's like, are you sure you're not just like a girl? And at the time, I was like, Mom, you don't understand. You can't pass judgment on me for being gay. And so I come out a few years later, and she's like, I told you so. And then, you know, had a little mental breakdown. But it was fine. She got through it. But I came out to my parents. I just kind of flat out told them.
Okay.
And then I told my sister. But to my extended family, I wrote a big letter. And I explained what being transgender, explained sort of the spectrum that can be gender versus sexuality versus your sex specifically. I explained, you know, I made correlations between my childhood and, like, you know, I played with dolls and I wanted to play dress up, but it was more than that. And, like, so I really, like, laid it out in a letter and I sent it out to everybody. And I made sure that I left communication open, like, if they had questions, if they wanted, you know, to talk to me, like, I was completely open to that. Because I was fully convinced that I was going to lose people in my life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the reality for a lot of trans people is that families will disown them and friends will disown them. So I sort of like mentally prepared myself to the best ability that a 17-year-old can for something like that.
Oh my gosh.
But I was so shocked and so touched to find out that my whole family was very supportive. Even my grandfather.
That's awesome.
So I recommend to anybody coming out, writing a letter and just putting all your thoughts out there is great. Because like, even unless your family, like, they can read it 100 times, they can digest it, they can, you know, look at each part. So that's how I did it.
Yeah, I did letters as well.
I was a big fan of the letter.
I was like in my 30s and terrified. I can't imagine doing it at 17.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, you're a baby.
Yeah.
There was something cathartic about throwing it in the mailbox, though. Well, there it is. They know now.
When I came out to my sister, the first person in my family I came out to, I actually got a video. Kath shot a video of me mailing the letter.
Putting
like,
the letter
in the mailbox.
in the box.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so precious.
Yeah.
Because that was the start. That was the first big step. There's no taking it back from here. The ball starts rolling. It'll roll slow, but it starts rolling now. And that moment. Wow.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that you are a gamer. You like to play video games. What I've heard about a lot of gamers in this community. Did you always have a girl avatar when you played a game?
Oh my God, yes, of course. Of course. When I started playing games too, I started with a Nintendo 64, and I played Super Mario 64. And I would beat that game just to see Princess Peach, like, appear, you know, out of the cloud. Like, ascend to the floor like you saved her, and I was like, that's Princess Peach. And and then, like, later on I found games like Tomb Raider, or like Metroid, or Blood Rain, or, I mean, later on I found Bayonetta. Like, there are more and more games that star female characters, and that is my obsession. Especially, like, through all of, like, middle school up until, I mean, like, even today. Like, that is my quiet place, my safe place, is just playing, like, strong, amazing female ass-kicking characters.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so
That
great.
is.
And that's the appeal of games.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
I remember coming across the first games where you could put your own name in, like Legend of Zelda on the old NES. You could put your own name in, and I'm like, Elizabeth or whatever. You know? Like all my friends are like,
my favorite names to name characters, like back when I was like 12, like, I want to be Katrina. I want to be Serena. I want to be like these epic, just like beautiful names that I cringe at now.
And all your friends were like, Steve or Bob or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, what are you
Razor
doing, man?
kill. You're like, no, I'm Veronica.
We all aspire to things.
Tanya of the Highlands. Like, leave me alone. Let me live my fantasy.
Yeah.
It's just a game.
Oh my god. So the gaming community as a whole is not necessarily known for being the most progressive, inclusive, wonderful place to be. There's a lot of misogyny and things like that. How do you navigate that, like, as a trans girl especially?
So, fortunately, also, like, unfortunately, I did not get into, like, online play or, like, being a part of, like, massive, like, multiplayer RPGs or anything. Like, I didn't interact a lot with other people through gaming until a little bit later in life. I stream on Twitch now, and so I feel like that is the most exposure I've ever gotten from just being, like face-to-face with the gaming community.
Yeah.
I will say I have found kind of like a pocket of like LGBT trans specific friends in that community, and it's a really cool, unique bubble because we share so many similar experiences, like playing games as children and growing up, and how like characters affected us and how we sort of identify through those characters. So that's been really cool, especially when even to this day, like I will get just these angry, like greaseball, like gamers show up and just throw like the nastiest stuff they can like come up with, and I mean half the time it's just like, you are a tranny, and I'm just like, oh, yes I am, and just like, and they think they can insult me, and I'm just like, all you're saying is what I am, and it's not an insult,
That's
but
not a bad thing. It's actually the
Right.
state of things.
right, actually, yes.
Took me a lot of courage to get here, FYI.
So thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of toxicity, a lot of just like just too much aggression, and like I understand there's a competitiveness between gamers because that's what games are. You know, you work really hard to get to a certain point in your skills, and if you lose, you get salty. Or when you're trying to beat somebody, like I get that, but I don't understand how that connects with wanting to rape other people or like wanting to like, you know, just grotesque, disgusting, misogynistic things that I'm just like, what does this have anything to do with you not being able to play Kirby very well?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't even play online. I play by myself because of that kind of negativity.
Because of them,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
there's enough maleness in the world. I'm okay. Yeah. So we have a link down below to Michelle's Twitch stream if you guys want to catch her streaming some of her video game adventures. So
Definitely.
Foxy Shinobi.
ooh.
Very cool. All right, so we know that, like us, you are a New Yorker, and we have New York-specific questions. So if we have any listeners who don't live in New York, that's okay. If you ever visit, this might come in handy. But my first question is, what's like of the touristy things in New York City? What's one of the fun ones? What's the one you like to do? What's the one you bring visitors to?
Okay, so when people tell me they want to go, like, walk the Statue of Liberty, I'm like, listen, I have a much better idea, and that is to literally take the Staten Island ferry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's free, and you just sit on there, and you get pretty close to the Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
and you realize, oh, she's not as big as, like, they make her out to be. And it just, you're like, hey, Liberty, what's up? And you can, like, drink on it, and you can, like, go to Staten Island, but then probably just turn right back around.
Right.
And then go back into the financial district of Lower Manhattan. So that's a really good one, especially if you're cheap like me.
Yeah. It's good for anyone, even if you're
Yeah.
not cheap. But yeah, that's my family members when they visit have ridden that a couple of times. They
Oh, yeah.
love it. It's so fun, and it's free. How is it
is.
possible?
I don't
it's still
know.
free.
It is. What's the best? This is a really contentious question. So if we start any online arguments, people just have
So
to deal
be
with
it,
this. But what's the best pizza in New York City?
Okay. All right. So, in my opinion, there are two categories of pizza when you come to New York. There is the pizza that you put on your dinner best, and you go and you sit at a white tablecloth and they present it, and they ask if you want extra cheese, and it's a whole thing.
It's your meal. Yes.
Yeah.
And for that, I say, and this could just be because I'm in Brooklyn, but there's a place called L&B, Spumoni Gardens. It's on the way to Coney Island. In fact, it's probably, like, I'm deep in Brooklyn. It's really not that far from me. They are amazing because they have, like, a whole restaurant side that you can go in and order. They have a huge, full, amazing menu, but of course you go for the pizza.
Of course.
And they do a thick Sicilian slice and bake it to the T, where it's like, I don't know, like 1.5 inches thick. It's like golden and crusty on the bottom, but like soft through the middle, and it's topped with like cheese and I think sausage on top.
Okay.
But they also have a takeout side. So I swear, if you just walk up to the window and you're like, I need a large cheese pizza, like they just hand it to you because they're constantly pumping them out.
Whoa, they got the turnover so fast.
They do. It's so good. And they also make their own Spumoni ice cream, which is bomb. I recommend pistachio flavor. So that is that category of pizza.
Yeah, we got to take a trip there.
I kind of want to, and to the listeners, there's a link down below, and we'll see you there, because, wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah. Well, you said 2 kinds of pizza, though.
There's also, so at 3 in the morning, you have been to, you don't know how many bars, you kind of forget what part of town you're in, but hungry. And
barefoot.
Probably barefoot, like, I don't know where the other shoe is, but we're here at this pizza place, and it is your quintessential dollar New York slice. And there's so many of these. I really couldn't tell you the best one. There's a few different chains. The one that comes to mind is called Two Brothers. They have a few locations, but that dollar slice is gonna be everything for you. It's like the size of your face.
Yeah.
You gotta fold it. Like, it's perfect. Like that, just perfect.
Yeah, and it hasn't been, and because they go through it so fast, it hasn't been sitting there all day like other pizzeria pizza.
Speaking of fresh pizza, yeah. And for our listeners, if you're new to this, you can get toppings, but that cheese, it's those cheese slices that are coming and going. It is so fresh and so hot and so good. Little Parmesan, little red pepper. Yeah. And you won't be quite as hungover the next day.
Yes. And if you don't want to sound like an out-of-towner, call it a regular slice. It's not a cheese slice.
Get a regular.
It's a regular slice.
Because everything else here is irregular.
Irregular, yes. What's the absolute best just food? That's a tall order for a question.
This is a hard question.
But you're on here because we need to challenge you. So.
Yes. I'm not even kidding when I say I'm a huge hermit. Like, I rarely leave my home. So, like, let me think of the 2 places I've ever been to in the past years.
Both of them.
Food. It really depends on what kind of cuisine you're going for. I mean, obviously you're going to find great Italian food. Like, I can't even get into an argument. I feel like the mafia will find me. Just, like, I'm trying to tell you. But, like, if you're looking for the best gyro, that's a huge thing for me. I love gyros. They call them gyros out here, but don't listen. It's a gyro.
It is a gyro. Mm-hmm.
Or a gyro, if you're trying to be real quick about it. But, like, you can definitely go to, like, your corner halal stand. Yeah. And then, all right, maybe questionable, but that's what you're looking for. But the best is going to be out in Queens, and there's a couple different places out there. I swear one BZ, like busy, but it's called like BZ.
BZ.
Greek food place, and they have just probably one of the best gyros I've ever had.
Oh my god, I'm getting
Is that in Astoria, or is that?
I think so. I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Link down below.
All
the listeners.
Yeah. I kind of want a gyro now.
A gyro, yeah. Honestly, there's some bad gyros.
I call it a gyro.
No,
it's
that's
French.
So wrong in every possible way. The S is silent because it's French.
Yes.
No. Oh yeah, a good gyro is hard to find, but now we're heading out to BZ's. Totally. Yeah. All right. Who would you get to play you in the movie of your life? And you can't say yourself, although, like, for part of the movie you can play yourself. But who else would play you?
I'm, like, thinking of the girls who I would, like, really want to play me. But then I'm like, no, let's be realistic about who can represent. Like, we don't...
the limit. Get who
You're
want.
a movie star, Michelle. Okay, come on.
This is a really tough question. I Oh, nobody's coming right to mind at the moment. I honestly would want like a trans actress, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I was to, you know what? There's this girl named Eve Lindley, and she's so talented. I run into her at like every casting, like audition that I'm at, and she's like so beautiful. So either Eve Lindley or maybe Hari Nef.
Okay.
Ooh, yes.
But I feel like Hari is like kind of above me, you know, in like the stratosphere, so it'd be kind of a gag if she did play me. But either of those two, I'd be pretty happy.
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Gorgeous girls.
Yeah.
All right.
What's your favorite, like, mystery or unsolved thing or unsolved happening or conspiracy theory?
Conspiracy theories. Oh my god. Okay. So, there's a few conspiracy theories that I'm so convinced are real that I don't even like think of them as like conspiracies anymore. Like 9/11, fully an inside job. Like it's not even like in my mind. I was like, no, that's not a conspiracy. It's truth. It's what happened. Aliens, I fully believe exist.
Yeah, they're there. Yes.
But the one conspiracy that really like messes with my head is the Mandela effect. You guys know about this?
Yes.
Oh,
I've read about this
man.
online. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Wait, what's the Mandela effect?
Explain for the listeners. Yes.
So it's named after this. A whole lot of people thought Nelson Mandela died 30 years before he did, but as it turns out, like in history, like he died fairly recently, like in the past 10, 15 years, I think.
Yeah.
And it was such like a mind fuck for so many people. They were like, there's no way. So it was named after that. But there's a couple other really well-known instances, like for our generation, I think the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always thought they were Bernstein, but no, they're
100%.
Berenstain Bears. No,
Yes.
it's not. What? It's
I
crazy.
had to go to the children's department of the public library because I was sure everyone's messing with me. Some internet gag.
Yeah.
It is Berenstain Bears. It's an A at the end.
impossible. It's just, it can't be. It
I
can't.
know.
So the way that they try to explain this, like Mandela effect, is that we are experiencing like a crossover of parallel universes or something like that, and we're like in an altered timeline.
Yeah, when they turned CERN on in 2012.
2012. This is when this all started to happen?
CERN in Switzerland, the big particle accelerator, they turned it on, and it split us into an alternate timeline. We're not in the right timeline anymore. That's why we're not remembering these things right.
I missed the other timeline. How do I go back?
That's the question.
Can I turn off CERN?
That's what we need to do.
Let's go to France.
Here we go, guys. Episode 100. We are bringing it back.
Yeah.
The timeline.
Berenstain the whole time. And boy, do we miss Nelson Mandela. You're right. That's such a weird one because it's collective wrong memories.
Okay, and like one of the craziest ones is like one of the most famous lines in all of cinema, and it's from Star Wars. Everybody remembers this line as Luke, I am your father. But that's not the line. Even the actors were tripped up about this because they're like, no, I said Luke, I am your father. No,
I was there. Yeah.
Right. He was like, I made the line happen. Like, but I'm telling you, this Mandela effect, this is a real thing.
Yeah. Well, what's the line?
Darth Vader says, no, I am your father.
Yep.
He doesn't say Luke.
He doesn't say, Luke, I am your father. He says, no, I am your father.
Life is a lie, as we know it. Like,
This is my memories. How could they be wrong?
It's crazy.
It's because the past changed.
The past changed.
And my mind stayed the same.
Indeed.
I've heard the same thing about play it again, Sam. He never says in Casablanca, play it again, Sam.
No.
He says, play it, Sam. Oh, I know!
So many things.
I'm done. I quit.
It's crazy.
Get back to our timeline.
Yeah.
Oh, that one, that's a spooky one. We gotta figure that out.
Yeah. Well, CERN. So, lastly, I think we don't want to take up too much of your time, but if there were a 12 or 13-year-old kid out there and they are thinking they might be trans, they're not sure, they're confused, they don't really know what to do or what this means for their life, what would be your advice for them?
Well, if you think you're trans, you probably are, but it is important that you give yourself the time and the space to figure that out. There's no rush to know it, especially if you're like 12 or 13. Like, that is the time to explore who you are and to make mistakes or to try things. Because at least I remember with my own transition, when I really figured out that these problems that I've been experiencing my whole life, sort of like disconnection I was having in myself, when I recognized that as being transgender, I wanted to make sure that if I pursued transition, that I would take every step slowly, methodically. I would really, make a conscious decision with every step I took. It was like, bought a little makeup. I started wearing clothes a little differently, but I didn't immediately jump into, well, I must be a woman, so I need to be on the hormones, I need the surgeries, all right now. Really give yourself time to explore. Because, what if you aren't trans? What if you're just gender variant? Or what if you just, want to change up your wardrobe, or you feel more comfortable, identifying as something besides trans? Just give yourself the space and the freedom to be completely yourself. Does that make sense?
Smart, yeah.
Totally.
That's totally smart.
And I think that's such great advice, because in a lot of cases, from what I've read, haven't lived it, but like people who are just figuring this out are just sort of overwhelmed with, well, I guess this means hormones and surgery. And like, guys, it doesn't. Just take some time, read some books, talk to some people, figure it out. There is no rush. There is no deadline, but you know something about yourself. Explore that.
And being transgender does not mean you have to transition. Not everyone who is transgender transitions. It's, and hopefully everyone who transitions is transgender. Because otherwise they're not going to have a fun time.
Or something's wrong in the process there. Yeah.
You don't want to be that person who has to detransition. Everybody has their own journey, but, if you can avoid it,
the expense alone. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
But it's no rush. I remember thinking, like, before I came out, that I was like, oh my God, I'm going to need to get all these surgeries. I'm going to need to do all this stuff. And like, now that I'm out, I'm like, oh my God, I have my whole life. I have decades to handle all this stuff.
Yes. And I could get it or not, or think about that or not. And there's no rush.
Yeah. But just accepting yourself kind of as who you are. And
and if we can decouple the idea of being trans from this whole huge checklist of medical and psychological things, just slow down. It's not a race.
Because if you are trans, then what? You are. Great. And then just take it from there.
Do as much or as little as you feel comfortable or safe doing at the time.
Well, excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Michelle, thank you so much. We cannot thank you
for
enough.
Sharing our 100th episode with us. And I hope that one day, since we're all New Yorkers, we can go get a beer at Stonewall or something sometime.
Or a gyro.
Or a gyro.
And a gyro. Yes, a gyro. Y'all, this was like really, really fun. You guys had really amazing questions.
Aw, thank you.
So honored to be a part of your 100th episode. That is so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's been wonderful, and you've been really awesome during this whole
long process that we went through.
It's been a fun process all the same.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you, all of our listeners, for sticking with us through 100 episodes. And here's to 100 more great episodes.
100 more, yeah. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Michelle Hendley, for being on our show.
And everyone, check out the links down below for a lot of Michelle's great work. Definitely check out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep making more great content, go to patreon.com/genderrebels.
We have many different levels of support and lots of great rewards,
including drinks with the Gender Rebels at Stonewall.
Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes. That makes it easier for other people to find us.
And send your questions to questions@genderrebels.com. Or find us on Twitter @TheGenderRebels.
Music for The Gender Rebels is by Jasper the Colossal. Follow the link down below or download them on iTunes today.
And for all our episodes, visit genderrebels.com.
The Gender Rebels is a Come Back Sync production, copyright 2018. All rights reserved.
And to all you gender rebels out there, keep rebelling. Bye.
Bye.